So I'm just going to take you through a quick question that I get asked a lot, or I get emailed a lot, and it's not very specific question, so we're going to go into it in a bit of detail. And it's what do I need to do to lose fat? And they'll generally follow with something like, I don't eat much bad food, but I still don't seem to lose any fat. Now, obviously this question isn't very specific at all, so I have to go into try and Sherlock Holmes it a little bit. So I'll ask a couple of questions like, are you currently following a nutrition plan? Often, too often, the answer is no. Now, trying to lose body fat and actually not following any kind of nutritional plan is like going map reading without a compass or even a map. It's just not the best way to get to your goal or destination. Yeah. Then, are there any foods in your diet that are making you feel lethargic? Now, a lot of people say, yeah, I don't sit very well with gluten-based foods or dairy-based foods or whatever it may be, but then they still eat them, and as well as that not being the main factor, if it's making you feel lethargic and not great, if any food in your diet that you're eating right now is making you feel not great, then don't eat it, yeah? Just as simple as that. Just don't eat it. If you love it that much, it's like, oh my God, but it's so good, then, have it once a week for like a cheat meal or something like that. Don't have it every day. You want to feel great. You want to be eating foods that make you feel amazing, yeah? Then, how many times are you training is a good question. Too often, the answer is, I'm not really training. Now, you can lose body fat without training, but is it the best and quickest way? No. On top of that, when you get, do you want to look more toned, or do you just want to be a smaller, skinnier version of yourself? Some people's honest answer is they just want to be a smaller, skinnier version of themselves, and that's cool. Now, you can lose body fat whilst, and not train in the gym and become a smaller, skinnier version of yourself. You won't build any muscle tissue, but you become a smaller version of yourself. But it's still harder. If you really want to get your results, then you got to work for them. Yeah, nothing worth having comes easy. So training in the gym is probably going to be a great idea. Then something like, how many sessions are you actually training? Now, there's a difference between exercising and training. Exercising is you go into the gym, you get a bit of a sweat on, you maybe lift a bit of weight, you maybe run a little bit for a certain amount of time, and that's it, you leave. Training is you've got a specific plan with a set goal, and this plan has phases and periodized to get you to a certain goal. Now that's training, so there's a big difference. Exercising will get you so far, especially if you've got great genetics, but there'll come a point where you'll need to have a set plan to get you to the destination you want to get to, whether that's build a hell of a lot of muscle, drop a hell of a lot of body fat, or just get a lot more of an athletic type physique. Then we'll look at what your weekends are like. So is your week amazing, but then your weekends are like, yeah, I get drunk all weekend, I go do this, this, and this, and this. Then you've got to think that if you're going out, then you've got the hangover day, the amount of calories that it's adding on to that week is insane. If you're averaging 2,000 calories a day, but then you're eating 4,000 calories on Saturday with obviously all the alcohol, and then similar on the Sunday, then you're putting yourself in a massive calorie surplus that week. And obviously with calories being the biggest factor, as much as we'd hate to admit it, calories are the biggest factor. And if you're in a massive calorie surplus, then you're not going to drop any body fat. Then obviously I might push into actually how many calories are you consuming each day? And if the answer is I don't really know, then you've obviously taken away the biggest factor in terms of, are you actually going to lose body fat? You don't necessarily have to count calories in order to lose body fat. But if you're struggling, if you're plateauing, we know that calories are the biggest factor. Yeah, and if you don't know what your calories are, then you haven't really got an area to play about with. You know, and some people say, yeah, I eat the same as my friend, but they seem to stay really lean. But you've got to take genetics in consideration, activity level. Has your friend got a lot more of an active day? Do they get as drunk as you when you go out on the weekends? You know, there's all these things to take in consideration. Genetics being probably the biggest one. And then it's then what if everything's ace? What if you know you track everything, everything's planned, you know you're in a calorie deficit, your eating is super clean, you're training hard, you're training like Rocky, but you're still not getting the results you want. Now, you do get the odd kind of secret eater, but let's pretend everything is absolutely amazing. Yeah. Then the only kind of choice then is to reverse diet. This is when you're obviously on a lower end amount of calories and it's still not working. You might have a bit of a metabolic adaptation where your metabolism's adapted to being at a lower level, and you need to reverse diet, slowly build up your calories over an extended period of time. Doing this, trying not to gain any body fat, and then once your metabolism's adapted to being a bit higher, so your metabolic rate's adapted to being on a higher amount of calories, a more sustainable amount of calories, then you start slowly dropping it down and getting the body fat of your dream. Or you can seek medical advice off a doctor if you are 100% nailing it and you're still not getting the results. So yeah, I hope that helps. Anyone who is struggling, ask yourself these questions, and then hopefully you'll find your answer, and then you can smash it, and you'll be one step closer to getting the physique or even just the health of your dreams.